Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Here I have a breaking developing story for you guys. This is an article from Light Reading. I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So, analysts and firms are growing confident that T-Mobile is the best suited to make a bid or the most potential buyer to make a bid on US Cellular. You guys have heard me speculate that in previous videos and recently in the video about potentially them US Cellular making a sale, that T-Mobile would be the best suited for purchase. Now, analysts and firms are also agreeing to such that T-Mobile is the best fit for US Cellular. Now, the footprint that you see on screen in the blue is what US Cellular covers natively. Now, I saw some of you in that video argue that T-Mobile could embark on this journey on their own, which they very well can. They can deploy cell sites and expand coverage, but it would take them a lot longer to accomplish that versus just buying US Cellular. Now, just a disclaimer, T-Mobile does not generally own their own sites. They lease towers. And AT&T leases towers as well, so it's not just T-Mobile. But US Cellular, from what I understand, they own their own cell sites across the 21 states that they operate in. So that would be a bit of a different model that T-Mobile would have to study and understand. But I think if they make the bid, I think they would take on that journey. I don't think they would shy away from that, because these tower sites in these areas, there are some of the areas T-Mobile covers now natively where they have overbuilt on the US Cellular footprint. But there's areas in Oregon, Oklahoma, Maine that T-Mobile does not cover well, where they lack coverage. Wisconsin as well. That's where US Cellular would come in, and I believe T-Mobile would handle it the same way they did with Sprint. They would integrate, migrate, add their assets onto the tower sites. It would take them some time, but this would be a lot faster than having to build brand new sites across that footprint. So US Cellular owns spectrum licenses across 600 megahertz, which is, what T-Mobile has ecosystem built around handsets, tower sites, everything's ready there. AWS, CBRS, 3.45 C-band, and 28 gigahertz millimeter wave. So that's, and around 4,300 cell towers across the coverage areas that, T-Mobile potentially might not have to build 4,300 cell sites if they can, if they do bid on this. Now, I do want to go to the part. So as you can see here, possible buyer, T-Mobile's at the top. The best fit may be T-Mobile, wrote the financial analyst at New Street Research. In a recent note to investors, they argued that T-Mobile would likely want access to US Cellular 600, PCS, and AWS spectrum, those that T-Mobile is already using in the network today. They speculate that T-Mobile might sell other US Cellular spectrum holdings like the 700 megahertz that it's not using in its network. Now, just a disclaimer, T-Mobile does use the A block that they purchased from Verizon in 2014, 2015. Just want to point that out. And, across this footprint, if T-Mobile is allowed to keep that AWS from US Cellular, the PCS, and the 600 megahertz, I don't think they need the C-band, the DoD, from US Cellular, and I don't think they would be allowed to keep that anywhere. I think that would be a divestiture if they are allowed to purchase US Cellular. So that would probably, and the millimeter wave would probably be sold off anyway. But if T-Mobile can keep AWS PCS 600 and then add their own assets, the 2.5 where they own it in those parts, the PCS, the AWS that they have, I think they would generate enough capacity in those parts, even for fixed wireless access, to compete very, very aggressively and have a compelling product. So I think this is the best fit. You guys have heard me say it. You guys have heard me say in previous videos that I anticipate US Cellular to be up for sale eventually. Just too much competition. They're losing customers at a rapid rate. Their financials are way down versus year over year. So a new owner is needed. It looks like T-Mobile is the best fit. A lot of people are starting to agree. A few people that I speak with are starting to agree. So we'll see if T-Mobile officially makes a bid eventually when this is official. I think they will because it's in the company's best interest. And like I said, gaining coverage, competing coverage across that footprint against the competition is going to be big for T-Mobile. The brand is doing well. They're pushing marketing. They want to grow as quickly as they can. And this is another way to do so, right? It could take, in some cases, like I said, to construct a brand new site in some of these areas, it's going to take 3 years just for one tower versus having to just upgrade existing cell sites that are already in the area. I think that's much faster. Even if that upgrade program takes another 2 to 3 years, you will have established a much larger footprint by upgrading versus having to wait and build individual new cell sites. So those are just some of my thoughts. Again, great article from Light Reading. I also agree. I think T-Mobile is the best fit for the bid. I think they will approach it behind the scenes. I think they will do it. There's also Verizon and AT&T listed and Dish in this. So if you guys want to check it out, Dish they just don't have the capital. They couldn't even attempt to bid. And then if they were to get it by a miracle, they wouldn't even have the funds necessary to really integrate it and get that going, let alone accelerate their own network. So that's kind of a slim chance. And then Verizon and AT&T, they just simply wouldn't want it. I don't see them wanting that. Verizon's already well established, mature across that footprint. AT&T as well with FirstNet, they've been getting a lot of reimbursements there. Why take on the additional debt for very little return on investment, right? They're still seeking return on investment from the C-band and DoD purchases from that AT&T made and Verizon as well. Why go into more debt when you're still looking for a return on investment off of that spectrum? So that's all something to take into consideration. Both of them have high debt loads. Verizon just purchasing a ton of spectrum and accelerating that for early clearance, and AT&T because of all of these silly media mergers and purchases that they made during the LTE era. So lots of debt to carry. So why carry more debt when you don't even know how to make a return on investment for your existing spectrum? So again, T-Mobile the best fit. I think they have the ecosystem and the assets to support US Cellular spectrum assets, such as the 600 megahertz. Verizon and AT&T wouldn't do anything with that anyway. So good look for T-Mobile. Let's see what they do. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.